What's going on, people? Now, welcome to Members Only. Now, this video was requested by one of my upper echelon members. They are top priority, so I got right to it. Now, don't forget to join and become a member. Now, shout out to the D. Y'all about y'all people for sure. Now, let's get right into it. In this game, it's always been competition about who's the flyest and who's touching the most money. One day, Rick Carter pulls up in something that the players never saw before to let them know who's really getting to it. On that very day, at the age of 25, he left the scene with a nickname that stuck, and that was Maserati Rick. Now, of course, all the big shots had their first hustle, and one of his was being a part of a car theft ring. He got in trouble for receiving stolen goods. Now, he also was a boxer early on. He became a manager and surrounded himself around popular names. His love for boxing would keep him somewhat in the mix. As you can see here, he's in the background chilling at the ring with no worries at all. Now, between 1982 and 83, large organizations were going down from indictments, and a huge void needed to be filled in the streets of Detroit. A lot of young cats trying to make their way up the ranks, and you had guys coming home from prison ready to take over, such as Demetrius Holloway, the original Big Meech. He sat for 4 to 5 years for an armed robbery. Now, you can't get that time back, so when you get home, you gotta make shit happen. Now, on the east side of Detroit, you got two choices. You either get high or get rich. Demetrius and Rick grind their way to the top, learning the ropes from the ones that came before them, staying down until they came up, eventually growing into businessmen and running a structured organization. When Maserati Rick started getting it from the Colombians, man, it was over. He had a vicious pipeline going from Miami all the way to Cali, burning down I-75 back and forth from Miami to Detroit. Maserati Rick and Demetrius formed an alliance. Two men wanted to be number one. They engaged in friendly competition when it came to cars. If Holloway pulled up in a Jag, Rick had to get the Benz. If Holloway pulled up with a dime that night, Rick would have had to hit the scene with 2 dimes the very next night. They was getting money and having it their way. Rick wore the finest clothing, full-length mink coats, the flashiest jewelry, and had a fleet of foreign cars. Neither wanted to be number 2. It started to get personal when there was rumors going around saying that Demetrius was sleeping with Rick's girl. And it was no bloodshed. It was still business to take care of, money to be made, but they sort of kind of fell back from each other. The real problem was Big Ed Hansard, a local hustler looking to expand. He was an underdog stepping into the yard of the big dogs. Big Ed Hansard and Maserati Rick did business together. And, to keep it 100, they never liked each other from day one. Every time they dealt with each other, it was weird vibes. I know they had a few misunderstandings when it came to territory, but it was always settled over a conversation. See, both men were selling different product. Hansard had the white, Rick had the dog food. Big Ed didn't respect Rick and failed to pay his street tab. Some say it was $500K, some say he owed them 100 keys. Some say it was some situation going on with Rick's mother. Big Ed would go around jokingly saying that Rick's mother gave him that nickname Big Ed. But anyway, one night at a club, Rick saw Big Ed and told his men that he didn't like Big Ed. Now, words got exchanged between the crews, and I guess they saw a perfect opportunity to take them out on that night. Now, Big Ed and his boys got into a high-speed chase with Rick's men. Now, Big Ed and them was outnumbered, and they ended up getting away. After that, Rick enforcers told him that it was on from there, so be prepared. And Big Ed immediately put out contract on Maserati Rick's whole organization, even the people that he was affiliated with. He wanted them all gone. By then, Rick already used his money for security, paying a squad full of hitters, known as best friends, that are allegedly responsible for over 100 bodies. Now, and after that situation, Big Ed reportedly participated in a drive-by of Rick's mother's home while she was standing on the porch holding Carter's 2-year-old son. Months after, Big Ed shot out the neighbor's house thinking it was the home of Rick's baby mother. The war was on as Big Ed took automatic gunfire to his stomach during the attack from Maserati Rick and his people. He survived and left bruised and stitched for months. The war continued when Rick was shot while driving on I-75 in his brand new Camaro. He wasn't hit at all and was able to get away. September 10th, 1988, Maserati Rick and one of Hansard's soldiers got into a shootout in front of Rick's car wash. And I did read that, it was Hansard himself along with the soldier. But let me know in the comments if you know. Now, 2 of the other guys were shot, and Rick was shot in the stomach, and they all were taken to the same hospital. Now, on September 12th, Big Ed's hitman, Lodrick Parker, allegedly came to his hospital room dressed in scrubs and gave him a clean wig shot. Now, at first, I was like, this doesn't make any sense because the Kingpin would have his guards with him at the hospital, especially if beef was cooking. But then I put it all together. Big Ed wasn't responsible at all. It was Maserati Rick's own enforcers that did it. They waited for the perfect opportunity. They gotten close to the plug and wanted Rick out the way, and then had the nerve to be the ones that carried his casket at his funeral. Now, this is a picture of his funeral. You would think they would put someone named Maserati Rick in a Maserati casket, but no, they put him in a good old Mercedes, which was his favorite car, so, that's understandable. Now, shortly after, Demetrius Holloway would stage his own kidnapping. Some say he did this to get Big Ed off his back. Others say he did this to throw off law enforcement. October 8th, 1990, Demetrius Holloway was given a headshot in broad day while standing and having a conversation in front of Broadway clothing store. It was 2 years since Maserati's death. At this point, everyone started to come out and, hang out freely. But the biggest mistake was to ever think the beef was ever over. Apparently, contracts don't expire. You have guys going through droughts or financial hardships, so if they see an opportunity, they'll take it. Broad daylight seems like a desperate hit, but it was done. Now, they tried to say it was the same guy that they said that killed Maserati Rick in the hospital. Now, Lodrick Parker was charged and acquitted. The feds linked the murder to a guy named Lester Milton. May 9th, 1991, Big Ed was sentenced to 30 years in prison for trafficking after one of his own men began to cooperate. The mother of Maserati Rick's children was sentenced to 20 to 40 years for drugs and firearms. Most people will say she did time for crimes she didn't commit. Now, Big Ed did his time. He was released. And, February of 2023, this year, he was arrested for trafficking. So the 60-year-old is heading back to prison. Now, do we include Big Ed Hansard in the conversation about the Detroit heavyweights? Do he qualify as a legend? He did take on the big fish when he was considered the little dog in the game. He took on the top dogs of a heavy organization at the time, being the last man standing. So let me know in the comments after you hit the like button. Turn your notifications on. Check out my playlist. I know my videos are short, but if you let the playlist play, it's hours of content of different stories. So thanks for tuning into the video tonight. I appreciate all the support. I'm out.